What's up, Minnesota Viking fans? Welcome to this week's show. This is the Purple People Podcast, the one and only Purple People Podcast. I say that because we just had a really funny inside joke we might share with you. We might not, but don't let anybody else. Yeah, probably not. Don't let anybody else rip this name off and try to sell you. This is us, and there's only the three of us, all right? My name is Kyle Smith. I am joined by Adam Carlson. Hello, sir.
I started at the bottom, and I'm still at the bottom.
Started from the bottom, and we're still here. As that one guy said, that one guy that likes to put hot sauce in condoms, apparently.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah.
I guess I haven't been watching the news.
Yeah, we can talk about that. We don't need to talk about anything Viking-related. Talk about how Drake likes to put hot sauce in condoms.
Hey,
there you go.
I had not heard that.
Yeah, I've been getting a lot of spicy.
I wish I had not heard that.
No wonder those people are dancing all crazy in the videos.
Could have done without it.
And that awesome Star Trek shirt belongs to Kyle West. How are you, sir?
It sure does. I am doing pretty good.
All right.
Hell yeah. Well, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about Super Wildcard Weekend. We're going to talk about GM and head coach candidates to the Vikings. There's some interviews that are going on currently, some interviews that have already happened. And it's the award show. I want to talk about news first, save the awards for later. Maybe you guys can kind of go with it from there. But I'm going to put these up here in the comments, and you guys can tell us. That looks awful. Let me space those out. Yeah. Told you guys we were going to be professional today. Yeah, let's start off with the wild card weekend that happened, the Super Wild Card Weekend. I went 6 for 6. Adam Carlson and I do picks on his.
Wait, that's how you took Arizona.
Arizona? I did not. Definitely took the Rams. I said no DeAndre Hopkins, and they were going to be pretty bad.
Oh, that's right. You went back and forth for a little while and then decided on the Rams. That's right.
Yeah, and I'm glad that I did. We can start backwards from there. The Rams beat up on their little brother in the division, the Arizona Cardinals, and it was kind of an embarrassing performance there. Kyler Murray looked very, very uneasy, and yeah, they were once the 1 seed for quite some time. They were the best team in the league for the first half of the year. I'm not really sure.
There were several games over Super Wildcard Weekend that just were not competitive.
It was kind of a letdown to end the weekend on that. But to your point, the Bills absolutely routed the Patriots. That was embarrassing. Touchdown on every drive until the end of the game when they kneeled.
And the Bills had been struggling offensively towards the end of the season. They could not get things going. Then they just came out and definitely made their mark.
So these are the awards. You guys can chime in however you like. You can copy that. You can just put in a couple if you don't want to answer all of them. But yeah, Wild Card Weekend. The Rams beat up on the Cardinals last night in LA. They advanced. They are going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this Sunday, and the Buccaneers made quick work of the Eagles. I don't think the Eagles had any business being in the playoffs, but that's why we have 7 teams in now.
Yeah, I don't know if the conferences are that top heavy, if there's that big of a difference in talent, or if it was sort of circumstantial or just matchups or what it was, but there were a lot of games that were not fun to watch.
No, but you know what? I'll still take a bad football game over a good baseball game or any other sport any day of the week. So you know what? More football is always entertaining. Although, yeah, you're right. There were a lot of blow-offs and not a lot of entertaining.
Are they actually playing a Pro Bowl this year? I haven't even been paying attention.
I am not sure.
They're doing a skills competition, and then the Pro Bowl will be held in Las Vegas.
So they actually are having a game.
Correct.
All right.
That's fun. That skills competition's where it's at, though. I don't care about the game one bit. I want to see these guys throwing at discs and trampolines with targets on them, and I want it
now. American Gladiator, that shit.
Yeah, let's do absolutely.
It. Yeah.
It's always weird how Andy Dalton always just showed out at those skills competitions.
No pressure around. He looks a lot better. It's weird.
Yeah.
Hey, Kirk's been to a couple of those.
Yeah.
We'll give Kirk some love later. He's in one of my spots here, so want to slide that in there for suspense. The Kansas City Chiefs sent Big Ben off in style. Chiefs look very red hot. And that's going to be the game of the weekend coming up in the divisional round. The Bills are going to visit the red hot Chiefs, and I expect it to be a fireworks show, which means it'll probably be a 21-17 dud. That's how it usually goes. But Big Ben is going to retire after this year. So professionally, you had a great career. Questionable offseason stuff a long time ago, but Hall of Famer, no doubt. Yeah.
So Arrowhead Stadium ran out of fireworks. Kansas City scored so many touchdowns.
That's embarrassing for the Steelers anyways. Oh, man. So funny. This is a good segue, too.
I'm trying to remember. Big Ben, did he have 1 or 2 Super Bowl wins?
He had 2 Super Bowl wins, 3 appearances.
Nice.
Not a bad ratio.
Not at all. He was top 10 in passing yards. I think he was close up there with touchdowns. He had a lot of success. He's a definition of a franchise quarterback. And one with Mike Tomlin, obviously went to 2 Super Bowls and won one of them with Mike, and then Bill Cowher at the end of his tenure as their coach. So
the biggest disappointment from the playoffs for me had to be Ezekiel Elliott.
Oh, yeah.
What a non-factor for a guy making almost $19 million a year.
There's going to be a lot of changes coming in Cowboy land.
I've never been a fan of Ezekiel Elliott, so.
And if you look at a lot of the teams that are left in the playoffs, that whole franchise running back, feature back, not really prevalent.
Yep. He's making a lot more money than he should. The Dallas Cowboys lost in embarrassingly frustrating fashion. Questions all around let's start with Dak. I said this between the 3 of us. There's a lot of Twitter exchange going on because people have opinions. I don't care because I play Madden. That makes me an expert. So remember that. You can audible. If you don't like that, audible. Call something else. I'm sure you know more than one play in the playbook that was given.
John Sullivan would disagree with you.
Hey, you know what?
Come on, supported that he was not given an option to check out of.
I think you can do kill and do whatever you like if you're that guy and get yelled at.
Yeah, but then you are putting your whole career on the line if you're doing that.
You know what? If I'm being ballsy here because I'm being snarky today, but if I'm Dak Prescott and I got that money, I'm like, hey guys, there you go. We're going to throw an out route 20 yards and we're going to get close for a Hail Mary. I don't know why that coach decided that was good. I don't know why that went to the OC and thought that was good, but it was very head scratching. And they didn't hand the ball to the ref either.
Then the ref running in from 25 yards out to try to touch the ball. They didn't even touch it. He took it and moved it back and forth a couple times. That was bad.
Andrew's out here for spite. That is typical Cowboy fashion. And yeah, like I said, the Dallas is going to have a lot of change coming up soon. And we don't know what that change is going to be, but Jerry's got to be getting frustrated because they have talent.
Which is crazy because they've got really great pieces on defense. They have talented players on offense.
Yep.
That team should not have been out that quick. No way.
And on the flip side, the 49ers are starting to gain steam. They have a good game plan. It works. Not sure if I believe in Jimmy G to take me to the promised land, but that coach, that team, man, a lot of fun.
You get hot at the right time when you're in the playoffs. And he's got just as good of a shot as anyone else. I mean.
Absolutely. What's up, Scott? Thanks for joining us. Thanks for commenting. Give us your thoughts up here, and we'll put this back up. Drew pushed off. I like it. Bring it on. Bring on playoff football. Going backwards, we talked about the Bucs and the Eagles. That's about as much time as any of us want to talk about that horrible game. Saturday. What happened Saturday? The Patriots got routed by the Bills. The Bills look great. Means Brian Daboll's going to get a lot of looks at head coaching jobs because of that offensive performance. And earlier in the day, I think the feel-good story of the weekend, the Bengals got their first playoff win since the modern text message was invented back in the early 90s. And Joe Burrow's a stud.
I like it. I'm rooting for Cincinnati. They got a couple players that I like. Jamar Chase, like you said. Their quarterback is, I don't know how you can not like him. They're a fun team to watch.
Despite that, though, since he had a great game, played very well, but I got to hand it to the Raiders for overcoming everything they did going into that game. They've had one absolute wild season to get as far as they did and to get in the playoffs and actually make it kind of a game. Yeah.
We'll give them a silent clap for the Raiders. That was a tumultuous season. And not only to kick the
Oakland,
Chargers out of the playoffs, but to compete. That was a competitive game. It was fun. Also, you know what I like? We were talking about Joe Burrow. You know why I like him so much? He's got the right amount of smugness and the right amount of confidence.
Yeah.
It's perfect. He's confident enough to say what you would want him to say as a fan who doesn't want to hear a robot behind the pulpit or whatever they're up there doing the conferences in. But he's got a swagger about him that's likable because it's not too much. It's just the right amount. I'm pulling for you, Joe.
In my life that I equate arrogantly smoking a cigar with arrogance. I don't know what it is. It's that cigar smoking. It's just, I don't know. I see someone smoking a cigar and I think, wow, that guy's, he's likes himself and his situation a lot. It's just, I don't know what it is.
It's a celebration, man. I've been a fan of his though since that interview with the reporter for the national championship game. It's like, show everybody the picture of little Joe. It's like, you know what he looks like? A national champion. It's like, you know what? That's the right answer right there. That's funny. Scott, what's up, Sean? I saw your thing in the chat. Left you up there for a little bit. Thanks for joining us. Scott says, do we have a better O-line than the Cowboys? I think they're closer than they used to be. Significantly closer than, say, like 2017, 2015.
Well, Dallas did make the decision to let some of their linemen walk so they could give Ezekiel Elliott that big contract. So, that was a decision.
Makes sense. Get rid of the money going to the guys who block to make your running back better. I like it. Scott Schwab says he's rooting for Cincinnati. It'd be cool to see the rookie and young team go the distance. I agree. The problem with that is they're going to Nashville this weekend where Derrick Henry is awoken and ready to go. So that's going to be fun. It's going to be an interesting weekend. Divisional weekend's going to be set. The Bengals are visiting the Titans. I believe that's the first game. The Packers are hosting the 49ers. I could see the 49ers giving the Packers all kinds of fits there. That'll be a lot closer than I think.
It's a bad matchup for Green Bay. They're going to have to overcome that one.
They have the temperature on their side. It's going to be like 1 degree there, so that's fun.
They always got the refs on their side.
But with the ground game of the 49ers, I mean, the bad weather might actually suit them.
That's true. And I hate to say this because it's going to sound like I'm poo-pooing on Jimmy Garoppolo because I am, because he sucks. Just run the ball and don't let him throw it. Plus, he has an injury to his hand, I believe. So
tough to bet against Aaron Rodgers, though.
True.
Especially
not divisional weekend. Next weekend, the weekend after, you can bet against him. Yeah.
Okay.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are hosting the Rams. I'd be interested to watch that game and see if the Rams can do us all a favor and kick Tom Brady out of the playoffs, because the Bucs are hurt right now. So that's a positive for the Rams.
That Rams defense against that Bucs offense, I can't wait. It's going to be just fun.
Jalen Ramsey just going nuts.
And then you have Vita Vea, who's fun to watch every weekend.
Yeah, that's a good player. It's a good call, Adam.
It depends on if Matthew Stafford wants to have apple turnovers for supper that day.
Did you know that was his first ever playoff win this week?
Stafford?
Yeah.
So
crazy.
Odell Beckham, and I don't agree with Colin Cowherd much, but he said, "Man, that's a terrible look for Baker Mayfield." I was like, "Yeah, it is. That sucks for him." And then the last one is going to be the Chiefs and the Bills. That'd be the game of the weekend. Really excited for that. I'm rooting for the Chiefs all the way. I told Adam this on our NFL picks on his channel on MN Viking Zombie for YouTube and Twitch. The Super Bowl we all deserve is the Chiefs versus the Packers, or the Bills versus the Packers. That's the one we deserve. We'll probably get something like Los Angeles versus Tennessee, and I don't want to watch that at all.
I want to watch that.
I don't want to watch that at all. I want to see the star quarterbacks because I'm greedy and I've been morphed into whatever the NFL has changed to now, and now I'm just like a little kid demanding his dinner.
Well, what star quarterbacks aren't? I mean, I guess Ryan Tannehill isn't a star quarterback, but I mean, otherwise the playoffs are full of the big quarterbacks. I know, but what I'm alluding to, Adam, is I don't want to see Matt Stafford in the Super Bowl when I can see Aaron Rodgers or Pat Mahomes or Josh Allen. Yes. Plus, it'll be fun. You're putting Josh Allen up there already. I'll take him over Matt Stafford any day. Okay, I mean that's a little bold, but all right. Yeah, I think, and I'm in the moment of this, but I like his arm obviously more. But God, the turnovers from Stafford are just alarming. Plus, it's crazy seeing like Big Ben reincarnated. Shout out to him again, bringing him up in the show, because Josh Allen is what he was, and he'll carry the ball for 66 yards like he did this weekend, which is a lot of fun. By the way, let's give some props to the former Vikings that were having some days in the the playoffs there. The Belldozer getting some action.
Old Belldozer. Blake Bell, tight end, former Viking tight end. Shout out to him.
Had a nice holding penalty against him. Not bad.
D'Amico Ryan. What's up, Viking Jerome? I don't know who that is. Oh, here we go. Here, Andrew. I was telling a friend, we're glad we didn't go one and done. I know that's not goal, but glad we got a head start on these two GM and coaching interviews. Yeah, we're going to talk about those. Those are interesting.
Yeah, I agree with Scott.
All right, I have a story to tell, guys. I'll keep it and give you the short version, but
oh yeah, these guys were talking about McKinnon in the chat. They were all happy for Jarek, and of course, we all knew that Patrick Mahomes had come out in interviews and said how much he loves playing with McKinnon, loves his speed around the edge and everything like that. And the fact he was able to come out and have such a big day was so nice.
Yeah, Jerick McKinnon had himself a game, over 100 all-purpose yards, touchdown on a sweet designed little forward shuffle pass. It was incredible. I work at the Charlotte airport. I bumped into Captain Munnerlyn, former Panthers and Vikings quarterback, as I left the restroom, and I just had to say something. So I said, "Hey, what's up, man?" And he said, "Yeah, it's me." So we talked briefly about the GM and coach situation in Minnesota. We talked about Kirk Cousins. And then I mentioned and said, "Hey, what about your boy Jerick McKinnon? You know, you play with him." And his eyes lit up. And he said, he never played like that when he was in Minnesota. He said he had a couple games here or there. He'd score a touchdown, but he's like, he was phenomenal last night. He's like, I was watching the game and I was so happy for him. So happy for Jerick McKinnon. I'm going to root for him because I don't know their running back injury situation there, but if he gets more touches, good, because he's went through some adversity.
Well, there's a chance to get Edwards-Helaire back for this next game, but yeah, I don't know how much you hurry him if you have to.
Yeah, I don't know. McKinnon's kind of played himself into a featured back role after that game, I would think, anyway.
Or at least a major part of the rotation.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's what I was saying, too, is that those injuries that he had in San Francisco were just devastating. You know, we were all talking about it a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
We felt bad for him. We liked his energy here. He was a fun guy on 96 Questions, and good to see him bounce back. A lot of people don't bounce back from that, especially when you have back-to-back ACL injuries.
Right.
Yeah.
But hey, he's doing it.
That's why I was saying it's cool to see him get the opportunity to come back after those injuries, because usually, and especially for a running back, that's kind of career over. So it's nice to see him be able to bounce back and look good in a game that big as well, too.
I like to throw the lower numbers too. Like he has the number 1. That's awesome.
I love
that's
love
so cool
that rule change. Love that rule change in the NFL.
On INT, a scoop and run defensive guy back. What game are you talking about, Scott? We'll talk about it for sure. But yeah, the playoffs are here. It was a fun weekend. Some games were better than others, but I expect these games to be a lot more competitive with the 1 seeds coming in. The best 8 teams are here, and then we'll obviously cover it next week. But the big news around Viking land is, hey, you know, we are interviewing GMs and head coaching candidates, and there's a lot on the list. I don't have them all in front of me, but we can go over the ones that I knew off the top of my head. I'm sure you guys know some of the ones I'll miss, but let's hear it in the chat. Who are you guys excited about that the Vikings are going to be interviewing? Let's go with GM first.
Just talking about that tipped pass that came back and the lineman caught it before it hit the ground and he ran. I believe that's what he's talking about.
Whoa, what's up, Bison 701? I hope Trey Lance gets to start and beat the Packers. That'd be cool. That'd be really cool, actually. I'd like to see him shine.
Lance ain't starting.
Vikings last game, I thought a big play.
Yeah, there was a big guy that caught a deflected pass and rumbled on down the field. All the memes were out, and it was like comparing the big offensive lineman to Toby Gerhart, and I thought that was pretty funny.
Shout out to Toby Gerhart. 3 OC and 3 DCs, right? It's a healthier mix. I don't, and I'm not saying this to chastise you or anything. I don't think any of that really matters. I think the Vikings, and the guys echo this if you believe this too, but I think they're looking for the mentality. I don't even think they care which side of the ball they're on. They're looking for a personality trait. I couldn't tell you what that is specifically, but I'm guessing it's more open communication and team building, because that has been the overwhelming theme the last week about how Zimmer was hard-nosed. He was kind of an asshole sometimes, and didn't really. It was his way or the highway, and they are looking for something completely different there.
There's got to be that middle ground between what Zimmer brought and what Frazier brought. Because Frazier got walked all over constantly. He was a player's coach, and he kind of let that get to him a little too much. Zimmer was the exact opposite of that. He was shutting down gambling in the locker rooms and not giving anybody any compliments, not even saying hi and everything. And it's two completely different philosophies over the last two coaches. And now that they're looking for a third, they got to find that middle ground, but they also got to find someone who will work with their coordinators to get together a game plan and not dictate what the game plan is going to be.
Correct.
I'm waiting for this to load. Shout out to Kyle West for sending me stuff. Like nobody's the actual producer of the show. We all just kind of wing it, but he's over here sending me notes, and it's awesome. Sean Reynolds says Mensa for GM and Hackett for a head coach. Nathaniel Hackett, offensive coordinator for the Packers. Spytech is really growing on me. Thomas Bew says, I mean, I'm fond of that guy because he's from Tampa Bay. Loaded. But will that work here? Who knows? The head coach could ruin that. So what's going on? Jonathan?
Yo.
Is that you on Twitch? That's got to be
the Twitch is growing.
There you go.
I love
it.
It's
working, Adam. I'm happy for you.
Hey, my headphones died. Are you guys
have a fit in New England? That's a joke. That's good. This is a good one. We can talk about that in the middle of this. Andrew Latola says, I was shocked at the report that Zim and Spielman didn't talk for 2 months.
Really? I guess that doesn't surprise me too much.
You know, hindsight, after we heard about all the stuff that you don't hear about week to week, it doesn't seem that out of sorts, but that's rough. I mean, this is the first year after 3 years previously with Cousins that like Zimmer and his quarterback would sit down and have coffee.
If you guys haven't, make sure you check out that article over on the Star Tribune about everything that went on with the Vikings, some of the interviews they had with former players that worked with Zimmer and everything, because it is really kind of disturbing in some ways.
It's telling.
But opening in others.
It's telling for sure. I love Zimmer. I'm going to die on that hill every time because I think he had great qualities, but every man and woman have negative traits, and I just think he was too stuck in his ways. But yeah, Adam's right. If you want to see the negative side, it's there. But Kyle sent me this, so we're going to put it on the screen. Here is the general manager tracker, and this is at Vikings.com, and this is current as of today. So right here, we're looking at the Titans director of player personnel, Monty Ossenfort. They've got a great roster, kind of a sleeper candidate, but a great roster is built over there. John Spytek, vice president of player personnel for the Bucks, another great personnel based. I don't know how much hand they have a say, you know, in their GMing at these other football teams, but they're up there. They're up there. Kwesi Adafo Mensa. Sorry, that's a name full. That's cool. This guy's got a very interesting story. I listened to 2 podcasts about him, and yeah, he doesn't have a football first background, but this was his love, and he wanted to be here. So cool. He's with the Browns. Here's something that's going to cause a lot of trouble in some men around the NFL because they're
the comments on those posts about her are kind of despicable. Yeah,
disappointing.
Well, it's good. I don't have my face up on the screen right now, but Catherine, I'm going to give you kudos. This is for all the men who are compensating for their little shrimp in their pants because they can't handle a woman being smarter at football than them. So, yeah. Hey, shout out to her. And if she's the best candidate for the job, by God, hire her. Brandon Brown, director of player personnel for the Eagles. And that's all we've got right now. I'm trying to think if they've scheduled anything else as far as GMs go, but these are pretty solid candidates for looking around at GM candidates here. I'm just scrolling back up so you can get a look one more time.
Now there's 4 teams right now, I believe, that are searching for a general manager, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Bears, the Vikings, the Giants, and now the Las Vegas Raiders.
Okay, so there's not a lot of options as far as teams looking at new general managers, and it might be a little bit more competitive than Vikings fans think, and maybe the job isn't as appealing as a lot of fans and experts think.
Scott Schwab asked, would you take Mike Mayott for GM? No way.
No, Scott.
Like the car maker company.
You brought the mic in. When you take guys from Clemson that could have been drafted in the early third or late second round at like 17 overall, hell no.
I'm all for get your guy if you want him, but you got to get some value out of it as well. And I don't think he's good at getting value for what he's got.
I'm trying to think. I'm still listening to you, Adam. Sorry I didn't have more to say about that. I'm reading these comments. I'm squirrel brained. John Svitek's father was a respected GM. What's the guy that was the Packers and now is this him? But he was the guy who was with the Green Bay for a long time. Went to the Titans, went to the Bucks. I'm trying to think if that was him. There's another guy, Cook. He was out there as a name for possibility as well. But there was a guy I heard a lot of negative stuff about. And I'll give you information. I stole this from Locked On. Shout out to Luke Braun. But there's a guy that was with the Packers for a long time. His dad was in the Packers organization in some facet. Went to another team, got passed up for general manager. Went to another team, got passed up for general manager. And now he's getting looks at GM. And it's like, why did you get passed up 3 different times? That concerns me. I'm not sure if it's Spytech or not. I'll have to look into that. I'm sorry I don't have more, but that was an interesting thing I heard over the weekend.
By the way, Sassy Butterfly, thank you so much for subscribing to my channel on Twitch. I appreciate that greatly.
That sub thumped. There you go. Shout out to Wes for giving the base here. Yeah, I think all of us are kind of tired too of the trade backs. I don't want to see a GM who's going to trade back and get a bunch of 7s that aren't going to make the team. I think we're all pretty dry on that. And yeah, we're good. We've seen that enough. Did you see the interview with Catherine a few months back? She got a lot of credit, super enthusiastic about her career in business. I'm all for it. Like I said, if you're the best person to lead this team, to pick up players and get value, I think value is good. I think Spielman got value a lot, but I think he got it in some weird ways.
Spielman was great at trading his players away, but acquiring talent, not as great.
Not the best. Zim got passed up a few times too. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a very good point. We kind of knew he was brash and rubbed people the wrong way, but we were excited to get him.
People loved it after they watched Hard Knocks. They were like, we need that. And then as soon as they got that, they're like, we don't want that.
Yeah, a lot of the players are saying like, what the thing that disturbed me the most about it, and this is really weird because I guess after meeting Captain Munnerlyn yesterday, the Vikings have just been on my mind. I called Kyle West. I was so pumped to talk to a player. I was like, man, this is cool. I had a dream that I hung out with Meg Zimmer, and I got bummed today because I was like, I want to meet more famous people, you know? But I think the thing that I found most disturbing is he's not a guy who will tell you like an attaboy. I don't care who you are, how old you are. If someone you respect, man or woman, comes up to you and gives you a, hey, you did a good job there, and I noticed, and I'm giving you recognition, goes a long way. And Zimmer was not like that. And, you know, we joked about this particular scenario on the pod a lot. I did, but, you know, when he used to get on Xavier Rhodes' ass all the time and say, I could find it at the corner. He's a cornerback coach, and that's your star corner, and he talked to him like that. I can't imagine what he said to the punter or like the third string quarterback. Like
Chad Beebe. Like
yeah.
He had no patience for anyone, special teams, offense that he didn't mess with. He stayed in his lane for a lot of what he thought was right, and I don't know how much of what he thought was right actually was right, because as a head coach, you got to have that big net. You got to check in on your offensive coordinator. You got to keep conversations going. And it's just a situation where I think that he was a little too focused on trying to do things on defense in a scheme that wasn't really working with the personnel he had. And it was just kind of a mess.
It's going to be important, too, whoever this new head coach is, to hire the right coaches, because what I want to see the most, obviously offensive coordinator is a huge deal. I want to see consistency there. I want a great quarterbacks coach in this organization, because one of the things the Vikings do well is draft defensive ends. You have some star wide receivers that come in, good D-line, but man, the inconsistency at quarterback has just plagued this franchise for such a long time. Find a young guy eventually. It doesn't have to be this coming season. Groom him. And I just want another franchise guy. That's all I want for Christmas. Santa, I'm going to be good this year. Make it happen.
Another franchise guy. Who's the first? other than Fran Tarkenton.
Yeah, Fran. And then he went to New York for however many years and had to come back.
What? Chad Greenway was a franchise guy.
Who?
Chad Greenway.
Yeah, he didn't throw very well, though.
Jared Allen. Remember that video?
Jared Allen did have that throw.
In practice. What was it? Two-handed?
Oh, yeah, two-handed overhand. It was good stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got that GM situation going on in Minnesota. Then we have the head coaching situation going on, and they seem to be doing interviews for both kind of simultaneously, which is strange in some ways because I don't know if they're just acquiring information on everybody just so they can hire a GM and then look to see if there's a good match for a head coach, or if they would be willing to hire a head coach before they hire a GM, because that would be a little confusing as well. I mean, this is a strange situation that the Vikings are going through because they don't want to miss out on candidates,
right?
But they want to be thorough. So I don't know if Minnesota's going to try to hurry and get a GM on board, or if they're still going to keep taking their time and just interviewing whoever they can as they go along.
If I had to guess, I'm going to say probably by the end of next week, I would think the Vikings would have a general manager in place. Because I think if you go much longer than that, you risk these guys just going, well, maybe I would have signed in Minnesota, but I was presented with this other opportunity. And, NFL opportunities don't come around every day, so I have to take it. I can't wait forever. So I would say probably give them another week. As for them kind of doing a search for a coach at the same time, I think you have to start that right now too, and just have your list of interviews and candidates and kind of like, hey, here's what we think, so that when you bring in the GM, you kind of have the beginning of a direction that you're going, and then you let them make the final say, the final decision on it.
Because there are teams that are already in their second interview with some of their candidates.
Sure.
So don't be surprised if a few go off the market before Minnesota even makes their decision. Or
I'm
completes
just
their
down here
interviews.
Off of Sports Illustrated. Vikings head coach tracker, the Rams OC Kevin O'Connell, Eagles defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon. I'm going to keep going. Cowboys offensive coordinator Kellen Moore, 49ers DC D'Amico Ryans, Cowboys DC Dan Quinn, former Super Bowl contending DC with the Seattle Seahawks and Atlanta Falcons, Packers OC Nathaniel Hackett, and Buccaneers DC Todd Bowles. No Brian Flores in there. Interesting.
Yeah, there is.
They have apparently requested an interview with the Rams DC as well.
Yep. Sorry about that. I don't know, Scott. That's a good question we had earlier. I'm sorry I didn't bring it up and didn't answer. We were all over the place. I would guess for sure Spielman's younger than Zimmer. I think he'll get another shot, whether he takes a year, takes a different role. I would say yes. He did have success here, just not enough. Had some wonky trades and stuff, but Zimmer is 65. I kind of hope that that's it for him, not because I don't like him. I'm a huge Mike Zimmer fan, but what you're going to go back to being at DC just because you love the game that much? I mean, the dude's got bukus of money, so go enjoy time and be a granddad, man.
Yeah, hit your ranch, spend some time with the family. I know that football still runs his blood. You can't question his passion one bit, but it might be time for him to settle down and go hang out at the ranch and do his job there with his family and his relationships and everything like that.
It's interesting. We'll keep you guys up to date. We're tracking it just as much as you are. Anytime ESPN goes off and I see the Viking logo, I get excited because I'm like, oh, cool. Who are they interviewing? It's exciting. This is a refreshing time. The last two seasons have been very disappointing. The standards were up here.
Very stale.
And there's a lot of hope to be had. We don't know where it's going to go, but it refreshing is a word that keeps coming to mind. We'll see a new direction, and I hate to use that word culture because it's like adversity with football. Everybody says it way too many times, but they need a shift change. They need an attitude change, and the perspective in the locker room is going to be fun because we don't know who that is yet, but we will keep you updated for sure.
Now, keep in mind that for now, the supporting staff for the Vikings, all the sub coaches, the positional coaches, assistants, they are all still part of the Minnesota Vikings for now. But once a new head coach and GM get in place, they will likely evaluate all those positions and do what they need to do to get their people in there that they feel will do the best job to bring this team to success. So for now, all the players, all the coaches are still intact, but that doesn't mean they will be when the season rolls around.
What a perfect segue to this amazing thing we're going to do here. Can we start with Donkey of the Year? Because that's
because we
yeah.
haven't talked about the piece of information I was segueing to.
Oh, let's hear it. I didn't know you were segueing to something, sir.
Because I don't have the exact information in front of me, but a team, I don't exactly remember which one, but there has been
Carolina?
A team. What is it, Carolina?
If you're talking about Clint Kubiak.
Yeah, Clint Kubiak has gotten a request for offensive coordinator position interview with the Carolina Panthers.
Bye.
And yeah, I don't think they're going to get a lot of resistance from Vikings fans, but there's also a lot to look into this because, sure, at first you can just be like, well, he didn't really do anything in Minnesota, but also how much was he allowed to do? I mean, you saw how Zimmer ran several offensive coordinators out of here. Offensive coordinators, as soon as they got options to leave Minnesota, even for a lateral move or to a head coaching, they were out like quick. So I don't know how much Mike Zimmer's influence had on the offensive coordinator position, but I don't know if there's enough information to really say that Clint Kubiak was a major problem in Minnesota because I don't think he had a chance to really run his offense.
I'll tell you why I go there. There's two reasons there. One, when his dad left from last year to this year and called it like, hey, I'm officially done, the offense went from like top 5, top 6 to wherever it is now. And two, after the scripted plays, it was a consistent thing this year. After the consistent scripted first drives in all the games, everything was just kind of a juggling act. Hopefully, there was no consistency there.
And do you think that was him or Zimmer feeding him in, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball?
I mean, when Gary was here, we didn't have a problem.
But Gary's also old and established and probably has a lot more respect from Zimmer, and he probably got a lot more leeway.
Yeah.
That's true. I mean, it's a good point. I would like to see my star wide receiver and my MVP, spoiler alert, stay here and not Stephon Diggs' way out. So that's why I'm leaning towards him leaving. I hate that for Kirk if he stays because that'll be yet another OC he's got to work with. But I mean, I hate to be that guy, but dude, you're getting paid like how many millions of dollars? Figure it out. That's about where I'm at with Kirk Cousins anyways. Figure it out with all your guaranteed money. I'm sorry you have a new OC. I feel for you, but that's your job, man.
I don't know. I don't think Kirk's been bad enough that fans should be running him out the way they have, especially since he took pay cuts at the beginning of his contract, and now that all the money that they've kicked down the contract at him, so it's very heavy at the end. I don't know. To me, it's like you get someone to come in and build your house. You give them $5,000 down. They start building the house, and then you throw them a little bit here and there. Then it comes time to pay off the rest of the house, and you're like, no, we'll get someone else to finish it, and then not want to give them any more money.
Here's my rant for Kirk Cousins for the evening. He has nothing to do with the terrible defenses of the last 2 years. There's a lot of games where the Detroit game this year, or even the kicker missing some. This team would be a playoff team. I just did it an episode or two ago. If other people would have done their job, Kirk would have been playing in the postseason. But there's an it factor that this man does not have, and it's been there in Washington.
The last time I heard about the it factor, it was Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the guys who. Hey, it's true. Tell me I'm wrong. If I'm looking at Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert or Patrick Mahomes, they have it. Kirk Cousins doesn't have that. Whether it be mobility, whether it be the clutch gene, whatever. He's had one or two bright spots, but the rolling theme is he's got to have everything perfect. And the NFL is chaos. So, and I'll tell you straight up, I don't think he's worth the money he's getting paid. Now, I told Captain Munderland this because he asked me, couldn't believe it. We talked about Zimmer. He said he was an asshole, but he liked him. He said he did not like GM Rick Spielman. I can tell you that right now, which is funny because he segued. And now that I'm thinking about it, I think he gave me my answer. He goes, I think he paid the wrong people, which is interesting coming from him. Then he goes, what do you think of Kirk Cousins? You want to keep him? And I said, nope. I think I've seen all I need to see. I like him. I don't love him.
I don't know. Kirk makes the 8th most per year as quarterback salary on his contract. And
I don't
something
think that goes to your favor there too, Adam, is guys like Carson Wentz. He sucks and he's getting paid a lot of money.
Oh, he's real bad.
I get it. I just want a guy who's just going to go out and make it all exciting. And we're spoiled by that because that's the way the NFL's gone. But I don't hate him. I don't hate Kirk.
I do think it's funny how the Colts are already at the point where they're not going to commit to Wentz. Oh. And we haven't heard anything like that from Minnesota. And I don't know if we will even once a new GM or coach comes in place.
Yeah, that'll be interesting, the direction they want to go. There's a lot of scenarios. We can talk about those in later episodes, but
oh yeah, we have plenty of weeks to talk about this stuff.
What I'm hearing in the early rumblings of guys, and this is from Chad Graff, so I'm not just pulling this out of my butt. So the Panthers, the Steelers, and the Broncos are in the running for quarterbacks. So keep your eye out for that. I don't know why the New Orleans wouldn't be, in case it's money, because I don't know if you really want to roll with Jameis or not, but they need a quarterback. My opinion, I think the Giants need a quarterback too because he's fucking terrible. But that's just me. But be excited to see what the new management, the direction they want to go.
I wouldn't be fine. I wouldn't mind one bit if Cousins stuck around. Well, the Vikings looked for a young quarterback to kind of groom behind him for a little while. I think that the old leadership thought that might be Kellen Mond. I'm not on the Mond train, but I mean you can see what he's got.
Sure,
I guess.
Yeah, I'm with her. With you on the Mon train. Keep him around. See what he can do. But I don't think he's beating anyone out for a starting job.
I mean, he's here. He's cheap. You always need those bodies to come into training camp anyway. So,
True.
And I don't think, like we've discussed, he was probably given the fairest of opportunities coming into Minnesota this year. So, let's see what a more competent coaching staff would be willing to do with him. You never know, but boy, did he look bad in the preseason and what little we've seen of him otherwise.
That's why I was saying earlier, I really want a good quarterback coach to come in. I develop some guys. Push your guys that are already good.
Love Sean Mannion. Fingers crossed.
You know what? I'm glad he finally threw his first NFL touchdown. That's good.
Good for him.
Yeah. Well, it's up on the screen, guys. We should probably do this award stuff here. I'm going to put it up here on the screen so we have something to go by. But Purple People Podcast 2021 Vikings NFL season. Here are our awards. We put some of yours up already. We'll put them up again. But yeah, let's start from left to right. Who is the most valuable player on the Minnesota Vikings team?
You make me go first?
I don't want to take over everything.
I'll go first. I don't mind going first. I probably have the bold MVP, and this is especially coming after the conversation we just had. Guys, I went with Kirk Cousins because I do not think that this was a very good football team. I think we all overestimated it quite a bit. And if you took Kirk away from this squad, we're like a 3-win team. I really do think that Kirk helped even get this to what was our final win total for this year?
8 and 9.
8 wins. I really do think that he willed this team to 8 wins when there was just dysfunction going on around him. I'm surprised how little of that leaked out into the media. But when you have your general manager and your head coach who are not speaking to one another, you have your head coach who, for all that we've heard, seemingly hated his starting quarterback. That's a lot of unusual circumstances.
An offensive coordinator afraid to rock the boat in any way, most likely.
Correct. That's a lot of unusual circumstances for Kirk. I think he played really good football for the Vikings. And if you go back and you listen to some of the earlier episodes earlier in the season, we were talking about how Kirk could be a sneaky MVP candidate.
Yeah.
Based on his play. So, and I do think that he is worth bringing back to the team next year. They kind of have to figure something out what to do with him contractually. And I don't think that you tie your wagon to him completely. I'm all for bringing in the young quarterback and blah, 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 build for the future. But I do like Kirk, and I still think that you can get a couple more years out of him being productive.
I'm going to twist the meaning of MVP a little bit because I don't think this is what generally people think about. But when Danielle Hunter was healthy, he was a game changer in this defense. The pressure that he got, the sacks that he was able to get in the short periods of time, as soon as he hit IR, this defense started to crumble. Yeah. And it's not like Danielle Hunter is most likely going to be here for several years. They're going to have to pay him a ton of money if they want him to stick around. But this defense is not what it should be without him in it. The pressure just... Teams can cue in on Danielle Hunter to try to slow him down, but they have to play him honestly. They have to double him at times. And having him on the field opens things up for everybody else. It makes things easier on the secondary, which struggled big time. And once he was gone, this team never recovered defensively. So for me, the MVP was Danielle Hunter.
I like both of your guys' choices because I'm going obvious as shit with mine, but I don't disagree with either one of those. Kyle, you and I are very similar. Kirk is coming up next for me after
we have the same name.
Or do you?
Oh.
MVP for me was Jefferson. He's been prolific his last 2 years. Yeah. I don't, and this is the way Adam was going to with like bending this. I don't think the team is necessarily going to fall off a cliff without him, but it's substantially different when he's not in the game. Adam Thielen was out for a while. He still had some good games where he had excellent performances. And the only two things I could say against him are if he's out of the lineup and, let's say Thielen's healthy, you got a good third in KJ Osborne. Adam Thielen's still a monster. I would say the only thing he needs to work on is the drops. He does have some drops, which I don't like, but the kid is setting records every year. He's got a Pro Football Focus grade 2 years in a row. I mean, freshman and sophomore year, he's in the top 5. He's a stud. Really like him. I like the swagger he brings, and he's got an energy that you love. I just love his whole aura when he comes because he comes to play, and he's fun to watch. But not too surprising there. I went pretty obvious. I'm going to go back around and steal the next one too. We can go whatever order X. I'm giving my Offensive Player of the Year to Kirk Cousins. Fun fact. He has the same number of touchdowns and interceptions as Favre did in his 2009 season with us. Same amount of games, too, because he didn't miss week 17.
And Cousins had consistent pressure in his face due to terrible, and I'll underline that word, terrible blocking from the middle of that offensive line in front of him.
Oh, yeah.
It was just absolutely tough. It was very tough.
I know I'm going back and forth here because I said some things about maybe wanting to move on from Kirk. I don't hate the guy. I've never said that I hate him. There's been some emotional games where he played bad. Refs might have said some things out of anger, but we know what he is. And what I like about him is you know what you're going to get. And if he's not afraid once he gets into a rhythm to take shots, which I love.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen him when he's getting hit, and he got hit a bunch, like Adam said this year, where he's mid-collision getting hit, and he throws a dime to Justin Jefferson or Thielen or Osborne or insert name here because he can throw the ball to anyone. And
I'm excited to see what an offensive coordinator could do when they finally let Kirk Cousins push the ball down the field. I love slants. I love screens. I love all that. I love yards after the catch. But at some point, you got to throw the ball down the field a bit.
Yeah.
For me, Offensive Player of the Year, this should be kind of obvious. Brian O'Neill. You know I like my big men in the trenches, and he did a fantastic job as a run blocker. He blocked off that right side of the offensive line insanely well, kept defenders at bay. He's got great feet, and he got a big old payday. People can say he's soft because he wants to hear a good morning when he arrives at the practice facility or whatever.
Hey, you know what? Tell Brian O'Neill he's soft to his face. You won't do it.
I've seen some people on Twitter saying that.
Oh, fuck those people.
Saying that he's soft because he wants to hear good morning and good job once in a while.
Goodness, man.
Yeah, like all of us. Like all of us.
That reminds me. What was that movie? Was it We Were Soldiers? It's the guy from Remember the Titans walking. He's like, "Morning, Sergeant Major." He's like, "What are you, the weatherman?" Like, yeah, of course. It's just a common hello. Like, don't read too far into that, people. I like Brian O'Neill. That's a solid choice, Adam. Kyle West. Offensive player of the year.
Offensive player of the year, I went with Justin Jefferson. Not a surprise. I think he's probably, other than the quarterback, I think he's probably the most important piece we have on offense. I don't need to go too deep into him. Smith, you did a pretty good discussion of him. Although I think it's interesting that his yardage on the year was 1,616 yards. And we all think he can do more. Like, we all look at that production and we're like, and he wasn't even used correctly. So, like, this kid's ceiling is incredibly high. I'm excited to see what having a coach who will say good morning to Justin Jefferson every now and then will do for him.
Do you think he realistically has a shot at the Triple Crown next year?
Depending on the mindset, yes. Depending on Thielen's health, absolutely. I can think of 2 games this year where he did not play well, and he still got this yardage. The Rams game, because Jalen Ramsey had his number, and I was at the Carolina game. He did not do well that game for whatever corner that was. But
he's got to clean up the drops. That is a fair criticism of him.
But his route running, his acceleration, his speed, I mean, it's tough. He's getting off the block is amazing.
Yeah. Those 50-50 balls are that's my favorite thing about him. He'll go up and get the ball. He's not afraid to go get it. And it's a true 50-50, you know, could or couldn't, but man, he's fun to watch. Thank you, Philadelphia. Again, 2 years later, we appreciate you. All right, defensive player of the year. Who wants to take this one? This one's fun. I'm excited about this one.
I went with Eric Kendricks. He's very consistently, him and Harrison Smith are very consistently, I think, the best players on defense.
If you go by Pro Football Focus, Eric Kendricks actually had a really bad year.
Did he really?
Their metrics are very, very down on him this season.
I guess I'm just really super high on Kendricks.
But I love how much he can play the line of scrimmage. He can play in run support. He can drop back into coverage. He can really do anything that you ask him to do. And for a lineman, or for a linebacker to be able to do that, each at a fairly high level, I mean, you've got a complete player.
Right. He's also one of my favorite players on the team, so it's easy for me to be biased and be like, hey, Eric Kendricks, defensive player of the year. I'll go with that.
The hardest part about choosing a defensive player of the year is that every single starter on defense missed time.
Yep.
So looking at who it was that had the biggest drop-off when they weren't in there, I mean, for me, I just liked the fear that Patrick Peterson brought into opposing quarterbacks. They would not throw the ball his direction because they know his ability. Everybody ripped on him because he didn't have interceptions, and that's because the football wasn't thrown his way regularly. Unless the person he was guarded was wide open, that ball did not come his way because they know that he is probably a future Hall of Famer. So, Patrick Peterson wants to return to Minnesota. I hope he can. I hope they can figure out a way to make it happen. I don't know if that's still on the table now that Mike Zimmer's gone, or what drew him to Minnesota in the first place. But I do know that this secondary needs a veteran presence around for some of these young players who are still growing and developing, and they need leadership on the field, and he can do that all game long.
I mean, we need corners, period, moving forward. And he played well. He's a good veteran, good locker room leader. And I don't think that he'll expect a big contract out of anyone. So I would imagine that the next GM head coach would welcome Patrick Peterson back to the team.
Adam, that was my choice too. I just have to, you have to give him, we said this before the season started, and he did exactly that. I said, if he can be 75 to 80% of what he was 5 years ago, we're going to be all right at that side of the field. And that's exactly what he was. I can't think of too many games or plays at all where he was burned, where he just looked terrible. He was out of position. He got the interception at the end of the year. So that happened. That's a cool streak. The dude's a true professional, a pro's pro, and I want to see him back. He's my number one re-sign as a free agent who's potentially, you have to bring him back. No ifs, ands, or buts, because outside of defensive end, corner is the most glaring need this team has. And he's a pro, and he's still got some left in the tank. I love it. That was my choice as well.
I'm going to make a little sidebar here because I got to ask you guys a question. Do you think Tyler Conklin will be able to come back to Minnesota, or do you think a team will pay him more than Minnesota is willing to?
What's their direction on Irv? That's my question with the question.
Irv should be back.
Here's the thing, though, is that the guy who drafted Irv Smith is gone. And so if you're a completely fresh set of eyes, what have you done for me now? Nothing. Conklin, pretty productive last year. Who am I keeping?
Dude's a baller, man.
That's going to be a tough decision to make.
Dude's a baller.
I mean, I don't.
If we're doing recency bias, I think Kyle West and I say no.
Him. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was my bad. I said, I think if we're doing recency bias, Kyle West and myself, we say no. We're going to keep Gronklin and keep going.
Right.
Donkey of the year?
Throw at him, but if he prices himself reasonable, you welcome him back to Minnesota.
Absolutely. I'd love to see him back if they can make it happen at a reasonable rate and he can be happy. That's what it's all about. All right, so Donkey of the Year. I don't even need a name, just whoever's at right guard. Whatever player they throw in there and is getting thrown backwards into Kirk Cousins, it's that guy. Whoever's flying backwards is spending more time on the ground than standing up during the football game. It's that guy. I don't care what name's on the back of his jersey. I don't care what college he went to, if whether he was a free agent or a draft. They all were terrible.
There's your Donkey of the Year. I think it's consensus for all three of us.
I went with Rashad Breeland.
He had some really good games mixed in there with some real stinkers.
Yeah. That's a good segue though, because you know what? And I'm not going to steal your platform, Kyle, but I was at that game where you're talking about with Carolina. First throw of the game, he gets an interception. I'm like, where the hell was this the first 5 weeks? It was wild.
His attitude was poor. His attitude was so poor that's why for me it's like, this guy, he's got to be my Donkey of the Year. You know, Udo might have been out of place above his skill level. Probably a decent human being. He's probably trying his hardest. I don't know if you can say that about Rashad Breeland. He just seemed kind of like a dick. I'm like, whatever.
Talking about himself in third person on social media too, like he's The Rock. Like, come on, man. Yeah, I get that. Okay, I'm going to do the thing Adam hates the most. I'm not going to give out 3, but I'm going to give honorable mentions. That Packers game was cool. I was at the Chargers game, and I can't believe we beat them because they were on a roll. But my game of the year is the overtime thriller walk-off touchdown, helmet thrown off on the sideline in Carolina because I got to be there, and I just like giving people shit here in my hometown. Game of the year, coming back from playing sloppy, Carolina overtime win. That was a fun game to watch.
Yeah, I can't argue that one. That game was a lot of fun. That's probably going to be my pick for game of the year as well.
Hey, I don't care if they're having a down year. Beating the Seattle Seahawks was a lot of fun.
Oh, I thought you were going to say beating the Packers.
Oh, good choice, dude. Finally getting a win against Russell Wilson. How about that? No points in the second half.
Right.
So I got to ask you again, Mr. Smith, because this question's probably changed maybe since then. I don't know, but are you still on the trade Kirk Cousins for Russell Wilson train?
Always. The problem is with the only thing I have an issue with is the money, man. I know that we're trending towards bigger salary cap and like the Pat Mahomes deal. I probably would have made it too, even though it's absurd. The kid's a phenomenal talent, but when you tie up the salary with that much, like Kirk is like 21% of the salary cap right now, you're going to hamstring yourself. So that's the thing too. We were talking about trading Kirk earlier, or maybe suitors. Doesn't matter if he goes anywhere or not. The Vikings are still going to keep 10 mil of that and eat it. Even if another team packages it and says, hey, we'll pay his base salary, whatever, but you have the dead cap money. That's still 10 mil. Kirk's getting paid by us whether he plays for us next year or not. So,
oh yeah,
that's the biggest thing. That's what's so intriguing about football, man. This gets me on a rant. Do you go with a guy like Burrow and pay him now, get all these stars and go for a run his first couple of years because everything clicks? Or you just throw the freaking bank at a guy like Mahomes and be like, well, I hope he elevates the team because we're not going to be able to pay anybody. It's tough.
I guess my thought process with that one is that this team is further away than a Russell Wilson from winning a Super Bowl.
You're right.
Like, yeah, he's exciting because he's different and he's got a different pedigree than what Kirk does. But I really don't know I don't know. I just got to say it. I really don't know what you're accomplishing by switching out Cousins for Wilson.
Cousins has done the pretty tight restructure the last couple of years. That's why we're in this situation.
Yeah.
I think it was gangster as shit of him to do the guaranteed money. I think that was awesome because Washington didn't want to commit. And I get that on his side. He's like, you guys keep tagging me every year. I just want consistency, man. I got a family. He's a family guy. I mean, we know that. He wanted to be in a place that loved him. And I tell you right now, if the Vikings would give him a 5-year deal, he'd stay here and he'd probably play every single game for 5 years. He loves Minnesota.
Oh, for sure.
And Minnesota is like made for a guy like him. But I don't know. It's tough. That money situation is it's tough, man, because you got to look what Tom did in New England, or look at Tampa Bay right now. How they pay all those players, I have no idea. But here's the flip side to defend Kirk. If I got paid all that money and you were trying to come take it from me, I'm going to give you 2 big middle fingers and be like, that's mine. I'm not giving you that.
Right?
Are you crazy? Like, take your money when you can get it, man. I see both sides.
Yeah.
All right, moving right along. This one's interesting. This could be a lot of things, good or bad. Biggest surprise of the year. I'm going to say the run defense. Good Lord, the money you spent on the run defense, and they were terrible. They were real bad. And I was really high on these big men.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was on Zimmer because, it kind of rolled over from last year, but the run defense, my biggest surprise. I was firmly expecting them to turn that around, and they did not. Might have even been worse from 2020.
If we had a category that was labeled biggest disappointment, it would be the interior of that defensive line. Even though I know they seem to have graded positively overall on Pro Football Focus, it was just not what we were expecting out of that unit. So yeah, that was a disappointment for me. My biggest surprise was Rick Spielman. You're fired. I did not think that the Vikings would actually go through with that one. Like, it's pretty obvious midway through the season that like Mike Zimmer was on his way out. We kind of all got that feeling. The Spielman thing, that was a shock to me. I was not expecting on that Monday the 10th, when I woke up and got that message from Kyle Smith that they had relieved both of them of their duties. That like, I did not think that would happen. That was a shock. That was a legitimate shock for me.
For me, the biggest surprise happened on the football field during a Thursday night football game when a player with a bad shoulder and a recently injured another bad shoulder came into the football game and ran all over the Pittsburgh Steelers. Dalvin Cook coming back from those shoulder injuries, and the Vikings doing what they could do to help him by bringing Blake Brandel in as an extra blocker on a lot of those plays. They took what was a pretty solid Pittsburgh Steelers defense, and they made it look like a joke.
The game plan worked so well, they never did it again, Adam.
Hey, shout out to Painkillers. Good Lord, man. He had 2 weeks off from tearing his labrum. Are you shitting me? Oh.
My number 2 biggest surprise, and this has to be mentioned because of how absolutely amazing it is the emergence of KJ Osborne.
I knew it was coming there, and here it is. He gave an homage to Stephon Diggs. I watched him toss his helmet off. I was in that end zone, man. It was dope. That kid can ball, and why he was so bad last year, I have no idea.
Did not play a single snap of offense last year. Came in this year and looked like a solid wide receiver 3.
You know what? Dare we say it, Kyle West? Dare we say it, Adam? Did we find our new Jarius Wright? Did we find him?
Huh?
I'd put KJ a little bit above Jarius.
That's fine. And I'm definitely okay with the upgrade. We've been saying that for like 3 years since Jarius was on the team. We're like, and he's out there. People have been tweeting him. He's like, nobody called me. I'm ready to play. It's like, okay. I think we found him, man.
There are some people who are ready to move on from Adam Thielen who think that KJ Osborne could be our number 2 behind Justin Jefferson.
This is also another draft where there are a lot of good wide receivers available. So
take one.
I mean, if these teams have their, I'm sorry, what?
Take one early. Yeah. Take one in the second round. Do it.
Yeah.
Boom. So yeah, I mean, if a GM isn't tied to a player and a new coach can be able to scheme without him. I mean, this team's got to save money somehow, and if they're looking to get younger, there's a lot of older players that could be on the chopping block, and that's scary. I don't want to imagine this team without Harrison Smith or without Adam Thielen. I don't want to imagine the team without these guys. I loved watching these guys, and I still do.
For the record, I don't
Adam Thielen
want to
has double-digit touchdowns last 2 seasons, so
I don't want to move on from Adam Thielen this second. Just FYI, I want everyone to know that. Even if you didn't listen a couple episodes ago, should you draft his replacement? Absolutely, because he's getting a little older. But if it wasn't for like Cook or Kirk or Jefferson, my offensive player of the year would have been Adam Thielen for having 10 freaking touchdowns this year. That dude's an animal. And I
hate to say it, but I'm kind of slowly merging towards the Kyle West, Dalvin Cook opinion.
Ooh, there we go. There we go.
Yet. I'm not there. I've taken a step or two in that direction, but I am not there.
Hey, it's like rehab. It'll hurt the first year, but once he's gone and he starts declining, you'll be like, damn it, we did the Bill Belichick thing. We finally did it. It'll hurt the first year.
Got to do it.
It never goes the way you want it to. I promise you. Look at Zeke Elliott, because those guys, I mean, I'm not going to say they're similar. I think Dalvin's better, but get ahead of the curve, man.
I'm just saying, all that I'll say, and we don't need to get too deep into that subject, but if you can get a draft pick for him on a team that's rebuilding, I would do that regardless. I don't even care what round the draft pick is in. I'll take it.
Send him to Buffalo.
I'll take it because we can Alexander Madison and someone else. We can running back by committee this team and be fine.
I don't know if Minnesota signs Madison back.
Ooh,
that's
spicy
bold.
take.
That's bold.
I like
We'll
that.
We'll have to see.
There's a lot of directions that you just don't know until we get a GM in place and a head coach.
Let's move on. We've got the Rookie of the Year. Now, this draft class is a little, we can say interesting, right?
Shitty. You can say shitty.
Meh.
But it did result in one Pro Bowl player. So, Kenny Wangwu, come on.
There you go.
I'm going to go with Darisaw, the left tackle. He was my Rookie of the Year. I think he played pretty well. It looks like we've got our left tackle out there. So if that is Rick Spielman's parting gift to this team, is like, wow, we got you guys a left tackle for the foreseeable future, I think that's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
I'm with you, West. He was my Rookie of the Year because we need stability and solidity there. The middle of the line, all three positions, still chaotic. I like Ezra Cleveland at guard, so you get the least shame here. But that middle and right side interior is tough. But I like what I saw. He'll have a season, a longer off season since the Vikings didn't make the postseason to recover. I like what I saw out of him. Really excited for that. Scott Schwab agrees with you.
Yeah, he's not that different from Latavius Murray. To be honest.
That's a good comparison, dude. Good comparison. Good up the gut. He's got some moves, but he's a taller, not as explosive dude, but he's reliable. Damn it, if he's not always available.
And I don't think I need to give him a special teams player of the year because, I think I just gave him my Rookie of the Year that same award. So.
Dual awards. I went with Kenye as well, too. He's a standout on special teams. He's a fun player. I'm looking forward to seeing him with an actual offensive coordinator who can utilize his skill set. He's a lot like Cordero Patterson in that you have to figure out how to utilize his skills on the field and come up with a package. But I think that whatever staff can do that, like you have a guy who can make plays out there for you. I'm excited for his future on this team.
I'm going to give the punter the special teams player of the year award because wasn't he signed right before the season started? Because he got rid of Colquitt, right?
Yes, we did.
Colquitt went away and Vikings brought in a new kicker, so there were new people all over the place.
What's his name? Barry?
Jordan Berry. You're getting my special teams because you were the consistency there. Good punter. I like him because I wanted to pick something else.
Yeah, I'm kind of a little bit disappointed in Smith Marset. Wanted to see a little bit more from him this year.
didn't get much of an opportunity.
Wyatt Davis didn't see the football field on offense.
I heard nothing but good things about him coming out too. That's wild.
That's baffling.
Not sure why he was in the doghouse.
I know they say he showed up to training camp a little on the heavy side, but you're a big
Cameron Bynum for Rookie of the Year would have been a interesting choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he got that one start and looked really, really good. So that's good going forward.
Yeah, he filled in at a high level when given opportunities.
We appreciate you guys sticking around. Show's running a little long, but we had these awards to give out. But we appreciate you guys interacting. This is a lot of fun, and we'll keep you up to date on the next episode, probably this time next week on divisional round NFL playoff weekend. And if there's a hire, we will let you know, and we'll cover it as in-depth as we can. We'll do a lot of digging into, but just got to say thanks. This is fun.
I
do you guys think the Vikings are going to keep this special teams trio?
I have no idea. It's everything is so up in the air. You just
be a shame if they drafted a kicker and traded him, who did really well for another team.
They outright cut Carlson. That still blows my mind.
It's infuriating. Every time he makes a field goal, we should riot. It's frustrating.
But he was on the cover of the NFL.com website. When you clicked on it, he had several special teams players a week. Oh, my goodness. It's that old school mentality, Andrew. The coaches love playing those older established players while the young guys learn behind them, and sometimes those young players need to take their lumps.
Scott, you're right. Outside of the first 2 weeks, they were pretty invisible. It was good. And you know what? That's another reason why I picked that Carolina game, because I was sitting just left of center of the field goal uprights. Dude, Greg Joseph wasn't making shit in those warm-ups. And he made every one of his field goals. I think he was perfect on the day. He was having a terrible warm-up session there. And that's an outdoor place. So outside of those first couple of games, yeah, not terrible. But yeah, I think that's it for this week.
Do we have another category, or is that it?
Oh, I think that was it. I just had a space out between special teams and then player.
Oh, all right. Well, I do want to give a quick shout out for the 5 new followers over on my Twitch channel. We got Sassy Butterfly, who followed, DJ Hopkins, Matt Jr., and 2 others from earlier in the day. So thank you so much for the follows. I'll be putting more content out soon. I've been testing my new Starlink internet, and so far I've been liking what I've been seeing. I still have when spring rolls around, I'm going to put my dish up a little bit higher on a pole, and it should get even better. But for now, I found a good spot, and I'm happy that I've been able to do some pretty good stuff. As you can tell, my cam, guess what? It's in higher definition, better picture, everything like that. So it's good times, good times. You can follow my Twitch over on Twitch TV, MN Viking Zombie, as well as on my Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, pretty much any social media that's out there. You can grab them on Hover as well, which is the new social media app for gamers. So you can hop on over there and add me on Hover as MN Viking Zombie if you like. You can also check out my work over on the Viking Age. I'll have an article coming out this morning. And it's going to be a tough one for me to write because I don't do negative things. But when I do, I sometimes get a little bit mean. So I apologize in advance for that piece. And over on undeadwalking.com, I read about zombies once in a while. You can check that out if you want. Zombies are pretty cool. There's a new trailer dropping for The Walking Dead Season 11B. I believe it comes out tomorrow. So go check it out.
Hell yeah, man. Worst coach of the year. Yeah, the answer is yes, Andrew. Yes. There you go.
Do we get to pick Adam Zimmer?
Ooh.
You could.
You can pick whoever you want. There's plenty to go around.
Oh, no shaving. Beard's longer than ever, and the hair is getting a little bit, I don't know how to get it all in cam.
I'm going to share this.
Hairy as ever.
We did it recently. But Kyle West, you're up, sir. Tell them about this exciting page here, and I'll highlight it.
Hey, this is my photography work that you can check out over at Kyle West Photography. You can buy some prints. I need to probably add some more stuff, but you know, I'm lazy like that. But if you like what you see, if you can give it a share on social media, on the Facebook and the Twitter and everything, that actually helped out quite a bit. That really helps spread the word and stuff too. So,
you got any pictures of your pup on there?
No, I don't.
Got to get some pup pics.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I should.
Yeah, both cats are sleeping right now, which is strange because they usually come running when I start talking. So, yeah, it's odd. But I'll take it.
Scott Schwab says, "Holy shit, you're a hippie." That's funny.
Yeah, well, I'm finally getting to the point where eventually, I'd say within the next month, I'm going to go and chop it off and donate it. So that's my plan, to donate this hair to kids with cancer so they can have a wig. That's my plan. Do it in the name of my dad, who had beautiful,
Amazing.
beautiful long white hair.
That's awesome.
So that's my plan. Yeah, on that note, thanks again to everyone who joined us, that followed me on Twitch. Thanks again to Sassy Butterfly for subscribing to my Twitch. That is totally awesome, and I love when you did that. And you probably got a cool audio alert if you were on Twitch when that happened. And I've set up all those alerts, and I had some fun with them. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. No, not Locks of Love. Actually, they take a large percentage of the money that goes from the wig to the patient. So I've got a different charity that is non-profit that I'm looking at. But Locks of Love is another. They're good, but they're not the one I'm going with. Yeah, once again, on behalf of both Kyles and I, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back next week. Hopefully we'll have some more Vikings news to talk about. In the meantime, stay classy, Minnesota.